is. So I don't know if you can swap those.
I couldn't get here for a while.
It's like that. Yeah, you're busy. We're just glad you come. When you come. I don't know how this monitor works. I just turned it up. Hello.
Okay, that came through that monitor. That was sharp.
I will manage. It's just interesting.
Went over my old whiskey, and I had a little girl in a holler tree. You can bring that monitor down. Hey, little girlie, now can't you see that there ain't nobody that can sing like me? Ain't nobody that can sing like me. You know it's hard for me to see how one little boy got so ugly. Well, my little girlie, that might be, but there ain't nobody that can sing like me. Ain't nobody that can sing like me. Way over yonder in a holler tree, way over yonder in the minor key, ain't nobody that can sing like me. We went down by the old creek, see the bub in the creek. You can turn that monitor off because it's giving me feedback. That one, yeah, just turn it off because I'm getting feedback from it. Or we can lower, yeah, that's better. I'm just getting a lot of feedback from it. But that one, Laura said she wasn't getting any. Push me up? I don't know, can you hear?
I can hear you now.
You can hear me in there now? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we can turn you down now,
Oh,
right?
you can turn the back of it down. Just do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Maybe I'll turn the master. No, I don't want to miss. All right. Say hello again.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, ladies.
Okay, good. How are you? Yay. Oh, well, we have 3 minutes. We can play Hasidic for 3 minutes if you want.
Got a good reason for loving you. It's an old-fashioned sign. Now again, you know when. Was in love the first time. Kind woman, won't you love me tonight? Look in your eyes, kind woman, don't leave me lonely tonight.
Hasidic for the next 5 minutes.
Please say it's all right.
We can do Hasidic for 5 minutes.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's wonderful to see all of you. Some of you seem surprised to see me, but that's okay. The Shabbaton has begun, but Cantor is out there, and I'm here, and a little later I'll be joining them out there. So those of you who came here expecting to see the Cantor and not me, I'm very sorry. You'll just have to do. But we're thrilled to have Sal and the Mighty Saltones with us, so it's going to be a wonderful singing Shabbat. We begin on page 13.
With Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. B'tagel ha'aretz. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. B'tagel ha'aretz. Yir Yam Hayam. Yir Yam Hayam. Yir Yam Hayam. U'lo. Yir Yam Hayam. Yir Yam Hayam. Yir Yam Hayam. U'lo. Yir Yam Hayam. Yir Yam Hayam. Yir Yam Hayam. U'lo. Yir Yam Hayam. Yir Yam Hayam. Yir Yam Hayam. U'lo. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. B'tagel ha'aretz. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. B'tagel ha'aretz. Ya'alo Shaddai v'chol asher bo. Ya'alo Shaddai. Ay, 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 ay. Ya'alo Shaddai v'chol asher bo. Ya'alo Shaddai. Ay, 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 ay. Az ranenu koratei ya'ar. Az ranenu koratei ya'ar. Az ranenu koratei ya'ar. Az ranenu koratei ya'ar. Ya'alo Shaddai v'chol asher bo. Ya'alo Shaddai. Ay, 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 ay. Ya'alo Shaddai v'chol asher bo. Ya'alo Shaddai. Ay, 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 ay. Az ranenu koratei ya'ar. Az ranenu koratei ya'ar. Az ranenu koratei ya'ar. Az ranenu koratei ya'alo Shaddai v'chol asher bo. Ya'alo Shaddai. Ay, 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 ay. Ya'alo Shaddai v'chol asher bo. Ya'alo Shaddai. Ay, 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 ay. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu b'char kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu b'char kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu b'har kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu And we're going to continue with Hine Matov
Page 10.
on page 10. And it's the version done by Nefesh Mountain. We've done this quite a bit. Yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da. Hine matovu manaim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Yadais. Yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da. Hine matovu manaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manaim shevet achim gam yachad.
We turn now to pages 20 and 21, where we'll join together in Lecha Dodi. When we reach the final verse, we'll invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as we join to welcome the Sabbath bride. For now, though, we begin at the top of page 20.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'libor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemu tiferet v'lit ilah. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. Likrat Shabbat, bechuven elecha, ki hi makor habracha. Merosh mikedem nesuka, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, va'orech umi uri. Uri uri shidaberi. Kevod Adonai alai et nigla. Lecha dodi likrat Allah. B'nei Shabbat lekabela. Lecha dodi likrat Allah. B'nei Shabbat lekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala. Gaham b'simcha u'v'tzachala. Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat Allah. B'nei Shabbat lekabela. Lecha dodi likrat Allah. B'nei Shabbat lekabela.
Page 24.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Yasharei Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech HaMalchei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Yasharei Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech HaMalchei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Borachem l'Shalom Malachei Yashalom Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech HaMalchei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Yasharei Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech HaMalchei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nil Shalom Malachei Yashalom Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech HaMalchei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Yasharei Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech HaMalchei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem Shalom Malachei Yashalom Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech HaMalchei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Yasharei Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech HaMalchei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn now to page 26 and join together in the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'hamad yivrach yirotei v'yamich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yom echon. Uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala. Uvizman kariv yimeru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam olam me'omaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitnaman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei dekudasha, brichu, le'al min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushvichata v'nehemata, dami hiram be'alma v'imberu.
Amen. As we turn to page 28, we invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as we join together in the Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Lie, lies, yet a lie, 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 that a lie, 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 yet a lie, 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 that 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 a lie, lie, lie. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMivorach. Baruch Adonai HaMivorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. La 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 la, 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 la 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 la, Page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bad. Oh man, help me out here. I'm totally messed.
Why don't we just read it?
All right.
Baruch
just read it.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach sha'arim u'vitvuna mishaneh itim u'machalif et hazmanim u'mesader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or u'mavir yom u'mevi layla Umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Yeah. Page 32. Ahavat olam. No. Ahavat olam beYisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shavenu uvkumenu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'k'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Kichem chayinu v'keinu u'v'ech yameinu nagia yomo v'layla.
34.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and you will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech u'shochtecha uvkumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiyot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. On 39, we continue at the top together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 Kamocha b'helim Adonai mihi kamocha nedar b'kodesh no ratihilo no hosefele no ratihilo hosefele da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 Hashkivenu on page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu Shomrenu Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamidenu Shomrenu
Page 44, Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'Toratam L'Tolam Shishet
Sheshet
Yamim
Yamim
Asa Adonai Et Hashamayim Ve'et Haaretz V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'doretam Berit Olam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael
Et HaShabbat
La'asot et HaShabbat L'doretam Berit Olam Ubayom Hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'doretam Berit Olam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'doretam Berit Olam.
As we turn the page to 48, I invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as we join together in the evening tefillah.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svetai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehiratecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svetai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehiratecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svetai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehiratecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem L'ma'an Shemo B'Ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Me'akol Atarav L'Hoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim Sohomech Noflim V'Rofech Oholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Mikamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech memit u'mechaye, u'matzmiah Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lehayot ha'kol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye ha'kol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh.
We continue silently now through page 63, including both the prayers of the prayer book and the prayers of our own hearts. Please be seated at your own pace. Page 60.
Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lecho ha-shalom. Ki atahu melech adon lecho ha-shalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol et ub'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We turn ahead in our prayer books now to page 253, where we'll join together in the Mishaberach prayer, prayer for healing. As a congregation on this Shabbat, we especially pray for Alex Botkin, Murray Reinwald, Roz Richmond, Ellen Keeney, David Shmuel ben Sarah Riva, Harav Rachel bat Shmuel Ufruma, Aharon ben Sarah, Gary Kaplan, Paulo Santoski, Jenny Evoy, Jonah Hart, Dana Green, Leonard Browdy, Ann Fagan, Susan Horn, Dale Craghead, Aaron Berezovsky, Ira Berezovsky, Naomi Markand, Lynn Fields, Marvin Rulin, Vivian Picard, Jerry Ann Morgan, Marvin Reedboard, Dee Dee Bentley, Aaron Robinson, Jerry Zoffer, Rose D., Ned S., Stanley W., Kimes family, Ecker family, Carl Solomon, If there are other names to mention, I invite you to rise now and as our eyes meet to say the names of those friends or loved ones aloud. We join together in the middle of 253.
Mishebera avotenu mikol habracha imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. B'Shevera Hamotenu Mikor Habracha Lamotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We add the name of Ruth Claudel. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, rofeh hacholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, healer of the sick. And now some time to celebrate good things, birthdays, anniversaries, celebrations. Who's got something good to celebrate? Do you have something good to celebrate?
My dad had surgery in December on his ankle, and he's finally able to walk now.
Nice. Did you just sign the whole thing?
I did sign the whole thing, yes.
Who else has something good to share?
Of course.
Somebody have a daughter in from out of town?
Is that good?
Lizzie has a daughter in from out of town? That's amazing.
I got some good news.
What's some good news that you got?
I got previous points.
You got points?
No, I get to go to Blueside Park.
Oh, you get to go to Blueside Park.
Yeah. She got
Nice.
from school.
Is your friend Shoshana in town? Are you going to say Shoshana's in town?
No, she isn't. She is not from town. I'm crazy. You can't be doing that, Dad.
Who else has something good to share? Got a couple over here.
My school had a lacrosse game today.
Did you win?
No, we lost.
Right.
It was still fun though.
Mixed news. Here, let's pass this down. Right.
With all the sorrow that I've had in my life lately, my mother's passing, today's her birthday, and my dog's passing. I'm getting a new dog tomorrow. I'm rescuing a 10-year-old who is in a hoarding situation. He's very overweight, and I'm going to take care of that little boy and make him run again.
Nice.
Make him svelte too, exactly.
Nice. Thanks. Who else has something good to share?
I brought two of my good friends, Bev and Helen, to join us.
Good to have you here. Welcome. Tammy, you have something good to share?
My mom gave me a picture of my dad.
Nice.
But you have something to add.
I have a birthday that's coming up.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're going to be 23 or 24?
I'll be 61.
21?
61.
26?
No.
Who else has?
My son, Joey Anderson, who grew up at Temple Sinai and was bar mitzvahed here, just got married last Sunday at Congregation B'nai Israel in Sacramento, California.
Mazel tov. Nice. Very nice. Who else has something good to share? Going once, going.
So, two good things. One, I convinced my daughter to join us at services today, so that's really good. And also, Naomi just finished her junior year of college. So.
Nice. Where? Pitt. Finals went all right? Good. All right, Sal, I think we're ready to sing.
Okay.
Oh, we got somebody in the
go ahead.
band who's got something good. Take that back. We can't sing yet.
Wait, hold on.
Our older daughter, Abra, her birthday is tomorrow. She'll be 38.
Mazel
And she
tov.
has 4 wonderful grandkids of ours.
Nice. Very nice.
And I'll just share that my kids took their AP US History exam, and after much kvetching, they came back and told me they actually felt prepared. Who'd have thunk that?
Do you have something too? Uh-oh.
I have a job. And I will be working a couple of days a week with seniors in elder care in assisted living facilities as a behavioral health consultant.
Nice. All right, now it's time to sing.
You sure?
I think so.
You positive?
Close enough.
Okay. Shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat shalom. So right now we are roughly halfway between Passover and Shavuot. What day of the Omer are we? Well, so last night we counted what night? Who knows what night we counted last night? Last night was 29, so you can do the math and figure out what night we'll count in just a little bit here. Which means that the 33rd day is coming up, which means if you're due for a haircut, that's the traditional day to do it. If you're not due for a haircut, don't worry about it. Some fascinating things go back and forth in this period of counting. So at Pesach, when we began, we were celebrating matzah. Does anybody know what the offering is that we traditionally bring to the temple, we brought to the temple for Shavuot? Cheesecake is what we eat now because it's a dairy festival. But at Shavuot, the traditional offering that was brought to the temple was, but what kind of grain? This is where it gets interesting. It was grain baked into bread. So at Passover, Dafka, we didn't have bread. It was matzah. It was the lack of leavening. And by Shavuot, we have the leavening. So what happens in that 50-day period in between? Is it the bread rising for 50 days? We're rising. So how have you risen? To great heights. I wish. 5'7" isn't such a great height to rise to, but in theory, we are more free today than we were before, hopefully. Hopefully we're more alert and more in tune with what's going on around us. And so there are 2 or 3 things that we do to get from the flatness of matzah to the uplifting wholeness of bread, the fullness of bread. One of those is we take time to count, right? We count each night of the Omer, and we take time to slow ourselves down. Has anybody ever gone through a period of their life where they actually counted the days or the minutes or the hours? Anybody who's lived through a pregnancy has certainly counted months, right? Or weeks. Anybody who has lived through exams has counted how much time do I have left on this. There are times that we count all the time, and when we count, hopefully, it slows us down. It pulls us back into focus. It allows us to turn away from all of the big stuff and really narrow our focus in and see what's going on. And in a real sense, that's what this period of the Omer is trying to do for us. Because at Pesach, we celebrated our freedom. We crossed the Red Sea. It was the birth of our people. And at Shavuot, we received Torah. But we're not ready to receive Torah right away. We've got to get ourselves ready. We've got to build up for that. And so the counting is the first piece of that process. A second part of that process is the growing that we must do as people. It's about the values that connect us. And traditionally, counting of the Omer was not something that one could do alone. Counting of the Omer was something that one did in community. We did it together. And this actually took on an entirely new meaning during the pandemic. In congregation after congregation, all over the country, Reformed, Conservative, Orthodox, didn't matter. Counting the Omer became a way for us in those early days of the pandemic to connect with each other. And in synagogue after synagogue, including here at Temple Sinai, there were gatherings online every night to count the Omer. And it wasn't so much that we got religious all of a sudden that year, and it wasn't so much that we needed to count the time that year in particular, it was that we needed each other. In those first weeks, if you can think back and bring yourself back to those first few weeks of the pandemic, we didn't know. We didn't know, was this temporary, was this permanent? We didn't know if this was going to be weeks or months or years. All we knew was that we were isolated, we were at home. We needed each other. We needed to see each other. We needed to talk to each other. We needed to hear voices other than the ones in our own heads. We needed to be able to somehow find community when we physically couldn't create it. And in a sense, that's what the Omer is meant to do. Counting the Omer brings us together. It helps us create community. In a very real sense, there were a lot of us who decided during the pandemic that we were going to keep counting the Omer just to keep that sense of community. And very few of us have succeeded in it. If I'm going to be honest, I've got to acknowledge it. Few of us have been able to hold that which we had at that time. Now, part of it's the outside circumstances and everything else going on, and part of it, frankly, is just the desire to be free and to go do. But that pandemic counting was, for an awful lot of us, an extraordinary part of the healing and the coping with the pandemic that we lived through. So there is the connecting, there is the counting, and then there is the sense of what are our values, what really unites us. How are we maturing as a people from the time of Pesach to the time of Shavuot? How are we changing and growing? Anybody have a garden? Kelly, you've got a garden. Have you planted anything yet? You starting to see little buds come up? Have you planted lettuce? How's it look? How tall is it? It might have been Saul. Anybody else have a garden? What have you got planted? You didn't plant the 2 pawpaw trees here, did you?
No, I've been thinking about this for a year.
Well, we'll see who gets leaves more and who gets fruit first. We should put a little wager on it just to see. If you plant a garden, and I haven't, to be honest, I haven't lived in Pittsburgh long enough to know the timing yet. There is no timing. Typically, if you plant something around Mother's Day, like lettuce, then give or take by the time Shavuot arrives a month later, you might well be harvesting it. There are a few of those early things that pop up. And I betray my own roots as a Nebraskan. I should know the agricultural cycle of things better than I do. But to be honest, where I grew up in Nebraska wasn't anywhere close to the farm, so it didn't really matter. But that early planting, there is a change that happens that you can watch in front of your eyes. And you can watch it in the daffodils, you can watch it in lettuce growing. All of a sudden you go from nothing to a little green bulb to all of a sudden a plant. And it seems very, very fast. I don't know about you, our daffodils popped up in February, and we looked at each other and said, this is not going to be good. Both expecting snowstorms in March and in April. It turned out all right, but that quick maturing that takes place there is something that our people have had to do throughout history. There have been times when we've been allowed to mature and take our time, and there are times as Jews when we haven't had the luxury of time, when we've had to move very, very quickly. And this transition from Passover to Shavuot allows us to consider what does it mean to mature and to grow, and how do we allow ourselves to do it? Do we allow ourselves a short window for growth or a long window for growth? And what do we do to encourage it, and what do we do to stop and notice what's going on? And so in addition to connecting and counting, there is this growing that takes place. And in that growing, there is so much open for all of us. Our tradition, in fact, recognizes this. Our tradition recognizes that Passover and Shavuot and Sukkot, all three represent not just events in history, the giving of Torah, the freeing from Egypt, but also harvest festivals, a time when we recognize growth, when we recognize harvest, when we recognize the bounty of our lives. And so Passover, I don't know how many of us actually celebrate it this way, but Passover is a harvest festival. If we lived in the southern hemisphere, this would be easy, right? Because springtime, or the time that Passover comes in the southern hemisphere, is right around the big harvest. But anybody know what's harvested in Israel, or actually in America, in the early spring? Asparagus? Kinda. Come on, you grew up in central Illinois. You got to know this, Mara. Wheat, winter wheat. Winter wheat is the big crop. And so the wheat that we use to make the matzah, theoretically, is just harvested wheat that came from the winter wheat crop. I don't know how many of you put a harvest piece into your Seder this year. I've never been to a Seder that has a harvest piece in it. But our tradition adds it in. And our tradition does that to remind us of the connection with the natural world and the connection with growing, and that we as Jews are constantly celebrating growing. We're always looking to find new ways to grow And we're looking for new ways to celebrate that growth. And so we Jews are continually learning. We're trying new things. We're reading new books. We're constantly on the learn. And the reason is because our tradition calls us to say, keep harvesting. Don't stop. So tonight we'll count the next day in the Omer. The question is, how are we using these next couple of weeks? We've got about 3-4 weeks left of the Omer. How are we using those times to connect? How are we using those times to grow? How are we using those times to see that we can help another, that we can learn, that we can mature? That becomes the challenge for us on this Shabbat, to use this time wisely, to see the gift that it is, and to embrace it fully. And so there are lots of ways to do that at the temple if you need help. For example, we have an author speaking Monday evening. I wasn't planning to get into all of that, but why not? Who wrote a wonderful book called Under Jerusalem. And it is a story of the archaeological history of the old city of Jerusalem. And the author is going to be here with us Monday night. So join us at 7 o'clock so that you can learn from him and learn about Israel and learn about the history and the complicated history of the city of Jerusalem. There's much to be gained there. But keep coming back for more, keep learning more, keep pushing us for more. The more we do all of that, the more each of us connects with each other, and the better our world becomes. Shabbat Shalom. All right, so we actually do have a few announcements. First of all, thank you to Philip and Marcia Baumfeld for greeting everyone this evening. I trust everybody was warmly greeted, and that I was the only one that Philip kicked walking in. Is that true? He said I deserved it. Our thanks to Saul and to the members of the band. We're thrilled to have you here and to lead us in worship this evening. We hope your foot heals. I'm not sure what it is about that part of the band that keeps having foot issues, but Natalie, be careful.
That's how we have a space here.
Good. So this coming weekend, tomorrow morning we do not have Torah study or minyan. I'll be heading out to the Shabbaton just after services this evening, and the cantor is already there. And so we will not have minyan here tomorrow morning, and we will not have Torah study tomorrow morning. On Sunday, Next Door is done for the year. So we do not have Next Door, which is going to make Jada very upset, I think. I can see her looking so sad. We do have a Tot Retro Night Saturday evening, May 6th, Sunday. Our youth group, both our junior and senior youth groups, are going to the Pirates. Hopefully they'll get back on the winning side of things. Volunteering in the vegetable garden, 7 p.m. on Sunday. I think that's a different, 7 a.m. on Sunday. Monday evening, Andrew Lawler is the author who will be with us. Under Jerusalem is the name of his book. The Buried History of the World's Most Contested City. It's a fascinating read, and I encourage you to join us Monday night. Tuesday, our Talmud class. Wednesday, our Torah portion, our Parsha HaShavua class. Next week, we have a very special Shabbat. It is our temple's annual meeting, and so at 5:30, we will have a Shabbat dinner. At 6:15, the annual meeting will take place. You don't need to have reservations for the dinner to be at the annual meeting, but if you're planning to be at the dinner, we do need you to have reservations. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll have our Shabbat service, where we'll honor families who have been members of the temple for 50 or more years. Next Monday, the 15th, Make and Eat. We'll be continuing to celebrate a year of spices, and it will feature Dr. Jake Schiller and barbecue rubs. So lots of fun, and I hope you can join us for that. For now, actually one last announcement. On Thursday, May 25th, we will celebrate Shavuot with confirmation. And so our confirmation students have been working hard all year, and we invite you to join us. There's a dinner that will be at 5:30 and then the service at 7. Please do join us for both of those to celebrate our kids and their growth as they become young adults. For now, we turn back to our prayer books to page 282 or 586, depending on which page. I'm sorry, 278, I think it is, for counting of the Omer. Is that right?
Yeah.
278 for counting of the Omer. Hine nimucha numzuman l'kayem mitzvah aseh shel sfirat ha'omer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer, and we join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer. Hayom shloshim yom, shehem arba shavuot v'shtei yamim laomer. Today is the 30th day, which is 4 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. And now we turn to page 282. We invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as we join together in Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latek gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, Ushemo echad.
Please be seated. We pause now to think of those who came before us, those who created this community, those who gave us life, those with whom we shared life. As you hear the name of your loved one mentioned, we invite you to rise. As a congregation, we recall those whose yortzeit occurs in the coming days: Matthew Arkin, Sonny Babkis, Judith R. Baker, Harry Barenfield, Joel Berkowitz, William Bloomer, Zerna Cohen, Barnett Fain, Nancy Newman Frank, Alice Frankel, Doris Dory Glosser, Glosser Rudolph, Harvey Goldstein, Yetta Gussin, Sarah Holstein, Florence Jubileer, Leonard Kaplan, Frederick Kramer, Irene Lample, Clinton Lando, Bess Lasher, Gloria Levinton, Irving Levitt, Samuel Mendelow, Myrna Miller, Michael Miller, Carol Ann Murphy, Rose Netzer, Warren B. Oberfield, Ludwig Ottenheimer, Morris Pariser, Morris H. Perlman, Frank Perlmutter, Jenny Rolbin, Joseph Rosenthal, Sidney Rosenthal, Rose M. Rudov, Lawrence Schnerov, Annie Stoffman, Max Straussman, Francis Lefko Sokolsky, Alan Tanzer, Jacqueline Osseroff Turner, Harvey Wadholtz, Selma Warren, Philip Zov. And to those names, we add the names of those taken from us just in the last weeks: Audrey Milch, Laura Fell, Leroy Supowitz, Barbara Carrison, Jerome Rosenberg, Ruth Love, Daniel Stern, Janet Stoller, and Milton Melnick. We join together now as one congregation. We rise for the words of Mourner's Kaddish found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudashah b'richu, ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May God grant comfort to all of us who are bereaved, and together we say, amen. We conclude this evening with the singing of Eile Chamda Libi, which can be found on page 11.
alem. Elech hamda libi. 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 Kusana, Kusana, Leal Natita Lehem. Kusana, Leal Natita Lehem. Kusana, Leal Natita Lehem. Kusana, Leal Natita Lehem. One more time. Elech hamda libi. 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 Shabbat shalom.